Welcome to Earth Unmanned. Tonight, we travel 1,000 years into a future where humanity never returned. From orbit, the planet still looks familiar, but the glow of our cities is gone, leaving only oceans, forests, and clouds. Over North America, the skyline hasn't vanished. It has transformed into a jagged memory, half buried beneath time and weather. Times Square falls silent, covered by vines where lights once demanded attention. Times Square falls silent, covered by vines where lights once demanded attention. 1,000 years on, the towers are hollow shells, yet birds nest in their open floors today. Manhattan streets have become silent canals, mirror-still water reflecting ruin as the city drifts without footsteps anywhere. Times Square is a forest now. Trees and vines swallow the billboards, and morning haze softens every edge. And below the surface, the same plaza becomes a reef. Fish weave through shattered frames like city ghosts. A rusted car skeleton sinks into soil. Insects patrol the corroded metal, turning wreckage into habitat again. The Statue of Liberty stands half submerged, her face masked in moss and algae as waves lap gently. On the Pacific, the Golden Gate has lost its heart. Fog wraps the remaining towers in quiet. Brooklyn Bridge sags and snaps, cables hanging like vines. Winter fog rolls through the gap it left. Deer graze on a cracked highway, framed by crumbling buildings and green return. Fear has moved on. From above, suburbs collapse into woodland. Oak trees rise through living rooms, rewriting streets into canopies overnight. A school hallway lies underwater and mossy. Rusted lockers fade as light beams fall through roof cracks. A stadium becomes a freshwater lake. Trees sprout from concrete stands while birds circle the new shoreline. In the subway, sunlight pierces broken ceilings. Roots dangle towards still black water, claiming the platform below. Chicago's skyline watches from the lake. The shoreline has advanced into streets, turning avenues into bays slowly. Grand Central is a greenhouse jungle now. Under shattered glass, mist and sunbeams feed a thriving interior. Mount Rushmore erodes into the mountain. Vegetation sprouts from the cracked faces, stone returning to geology itself. Las Vegas is buried under rolling dunes. Only rooftops break the sand, a mirage made permanent here. An abandoned runway disappears under tall grass. Derelict planes become nesting cliffs for countless birds today alone. At Kennedy Space Center, launch pads rust in place. Vines climb an abandoned shuttle, stitching metal to green. Niagara Falls roars without barriers or crowds. Mist rises as the river returns to its own rules. Inside a collapsed library, books dissolve into pulp. Moss spreads across floors while sunbeams cut drifting dust. Wind turbines lie broken across the hills, blades scattered among wildflowers. Renewal blooming in the machinery's shadow now. A black bear pads through a luxury hotel lobby, glass crunching softly. The grand entrance belongs to wildlife. A scorched neighborhood regrows with young trees and ferns. Ash drifts in the air like pale snow. High above the clouds, ruins fade into forests and lakes. North America quiets into a new, steady planet. Over the Gulf of Mexico, storm clouds drift south, and the sea breathes under a heavy sky. Mexico City is a lake now. Skyscraper tops break the surface like islands in silence. Across the tropics, rainforest spreads over old farmlands, erasing fence lines and straight roads. The Panama Canal is choked by landslides. Jungle closes the cut, and the continents reconnect. Canal locks sit underwater, rusting in place, engineering reduced to reef and ruin. Along the Central American coast, mangroves reclaim the shore as pelicans circle above. The Amazon expands beyond its old borders, an endless canopy rolling to the horizon. The river redraws the map, carving new channels where highways once ran straight. In the cities, jungle bursts through concrete interiors, turning towers into vertical gardens. Christ the Redeemer disappears into vines and mist, a monument fading back into the mountain. Rio's neighborhoods are swallowed by green, and waterfalls pour through broken streets. Inside Maracana, a forest rises from the stands, trees where crowds once roared. In a ruined shopping mall, a jaguar stalks the shadows. Now the food court is hunting ground. Buenos Aires floods quietly. Still water reflects classical facades like a patient mirror. The Andes stand pristine again, with greener foothills climbing toward cold stone. Itaipu breaks, and a new waterfall forms, power returning to gravity and flow. Former soybean fields regenerate into mixed forest, diversity reclaiming monoculture's scars. Up close, vines split concrete while insects patrol the cracks, small workers of renewal. Machu Picchu remains among the clouds, stone holding steady as the world changes below. In the Atacama, observatories sit abandoned under perfect skies, listening to nothing at all. Orinoco wetlands spread wide, flamingo flocks paint the shallows with moving color. Off Chile's coast, rusted container ships rest like iron reefs, waves drumming their sides. Patagonia turns wild and windswept, open, empty, and brutally alive. At Cape Horn, towering seas rise and fall, the ocean speaking in pure force. And then we cross the Atlantic, open water ahead, carrying us toward a changed world. In the fog, the continent feels unfinished, like Earth is still deciding what it will become. These white cliffs don't fall so much as they return, grain by grain, to the sea's patience. London learns a quiet truth. What we build for speed, water inherits in silence. Time doesn't need a clock face. Every leaning stone already tells the hour of letting go. Bridges were promises once. Now the river keeps its own vows with nothing to carry across. When barriers fail, it isn't defeat. Just the reminder that tides never signed our plans. Paris becomes a forest because life prefers roots over rules and shade over straight lines. Iron doesn't die dramatically. It simply remembers oxygen and becomes a different kind of earth. A cathedral without a roof still reaches upward, through branches, through light, through open air. Victories carved in stone grow soft under vines, until triumph feels like a temporary story. A shattered pyramid of glass proves it. Even our forever materials are only borrowed time. Venice sinks, and the world doesn't mourn, because the sea has always been its original architect. A seawall breaks, and the inland water arrives like a calm correction, not a catastrophe. In Gothic fog, the old bridge stands empty, meaning returns to stone when footsteps disappear. A gate once guarded identity. Now the forest walks through it, as if borders were ideas. Castles fade into mist, and power looks smaller, just weather learning the shape of walls. Cable cars sway like unanswered questions, reminding us progress is fragile in high winds. The Colosseum blooms, and history feels gentler. Beauty growing where spectacle once demanded noise. In the square, grass rises to the waist, as if the ground finally exhales. The Parthenon watches centuries pass, teaching the same lesson. Endurance is quiet, not loud. Spires decay at dusk, and bats circle. Life's small prayers replacing our grand ceremonies. A snapped bridge over the strait says it plainly. Connection was always conditional. Snow buries the square, and color fades, until even empire feels like weather. Wooden towns soften into moss, and the forest speaks a slow language of repair. The Mediterranean clears, and dolphins return. Proof that absence can be a kind of healing. Where danger once lived in warning signs, wolves move freely, wildness reclaiming its dignity. We drift south over open water, and the sea becomes a boundary that doesn't care. The desert advances like a thought spreading, simple, relentless, indifferent to our old maps. The pyramids remain, not as monuments, more like punctuation in a sentence time won't stop writing. The Nile stays green because rivers don't miss us. They remember the land instead. Victoria Falls roars on, teaching that wonder doesn't require witnesses to be real. The Congo canopy holds steady, a reminder that abundance thrives when it's left alone. Migration crosses the plains and meaning returns, movement as the oldest story on Earth. Beneath Table Mountain, shrubs rise where streets once were. Nature rewriting the city's signature. Baobabs greet the sunrise like elders, and lemurs move as if time has softened. We turn toward Asia, riding warm winds, following the planet's breath from coast to coast. The Himalayas float above clouds, suggesting that permanence is only perspective from below. The Great Wall merges with hills, proving walls were never stronger than seasons. Courtyards fill with grass, and the idea of ownership dissolves into simple ground. Towers lean in water and mist, like ambition finally realizing it has weight. When a dam breaks, it's not chaos. It's the river reclaiming its true name. Green climbs the high-rises, turning wealth into cliffs and silence into a skyline. Crosswalks go dark, and trees rise through asphalt, time choosing roots over rhythm. The tower bends and rusts, and we learn icons are just metal with good lighting. Wooden temples return to bamboo, as if the forest is gently taking back its loan. In the DMZ, peace arrives without treaties, just fog, birds, and uninterrupted trees. The Taj yellows under vines, and beauty becomes quieter. Less display, more belonging. The Ganges clears, and the steppes grow wild. Ritual replaced by rain and leaves. Mangroves fill the flooded city, teaching that survival is often the art of adapting. At Angkor, roots hold the stones like hands, memory supported by living wood. Super trees wear real vines now, reminding us imitation always dreamed of becoming true. Sunset reflects on still canals, and temples sit quietly, faith returning to water and sky. In Borneo, orangutans swing freely, and freedom looks ordinary, just life uninterrupted. Emerald bays hide sunken boats, and limestone stands unchanged, nature keeping its calm face. We glide toward open ocean again, and the world feels whole without needing our approval. The Pacific rolls on, endless breath, as if the planet is practicing calm. Along the port, rust leans into the sea, and the ocean answers with patient waves. Beneath clear water, a ship rests like a memory, quiet, sinking into meaninglessness. Inside the wreck, fish move through broken beams, turning absence into a living hallway. Coral claims the tanker's ribs, proving life doesn't judge, only adapts and continues. A school of tuna moves as one body, reminding us survival is cooperation at speed. Blue whales pass like slow planets, as if the ocean has its own ancient gods. An oil rig becomes a reef, industry rewritten into habitat, steel translated into shelter. On the seafloor, cables lie snapped, our nervous system of light, unplugged and forgotten. Plastic hides in the silt like a signature, proof that some traces outlast their makers. In the twilight zone, darkness flickers with bioluminescence, small stars where sun cannot reach. The trench drops into black, and depth becomes a kind of philosophy. Northward, storms thin out and the water turns colder, like the world exhaling into silence. Arctic sea stretches under gray light, ice scattered like punctuation across a long sentence. On a snowy ridge, tracks cross the wind, evidence that life keeps moving without applause. Glaciers press into the fjord, cracking softly, as if time has a sound. Meltwater cuts canyons through ice, change carving its name into what once felt permanent. Antarctica arrives like a blank page, where wind writes first and writes last. A station sleeps under snow, and human ambition becomes a buried footnote. Icebergs drift in calm water, penguins gather, small lives balanced on moving mountains. Under the ice shelf, blue light hangs in the cold, quiet so complete it feels sacred. Aurora ripples above dark seas, as if the sky is remembering how to sing. A satellite burns across the stars, our technology returning as fire, then nothing. More trails follow, gentle meteors of the modern age, fading before they can be missed. From orbit, Earth has no city lights, only storms and clouds, the planet dreaming in darkness. The space station falls in fragments, and even our forever machines prove temporary. On the ocean floor, those fragments grow over, metal becoming reef, history becoming biology. We turn toward the moon, where sunlight is harsh and silence has weight. A pale fabric and faint prints remain, proof that presence can outlive the living. Half-buried hardware waits in dust, untouched by weather, untouched by forgiveness. Mars appears on the horizon, red, distant, indifferent, like a question with no answer. A rover stands still under drifting dust, and exploration becomes a quiet monument. Dead satellites drift in high orbit, glinting faintly, ghosts of a crowded sky. From deep space, Earth looks softer, greener, calmer, less interrupted by us. And as sunrise spills over the limb, the message feels simple. The world keeps its own time. The cities don't end. They change roles. Stone becomes soil, and streets become habitat. At dawn, feral dogs move like a living current. Instinct replacing schedules, fog replacing noise. Feral cats hunt in the quiet shade, and the ruins learn what silence is truly for. Elephants walk through an overgrown district, and the scale of life returns to the foreground. Birds nest in hollow traffic lights, as if the sky has reclaimed every signal we invented. Insects rise over wildflowers on cracked highways, proof that abundance loves open space. The interchange becomes a forest, and the old directions fade into one simple path: grow. A graveyard turns to woodland, names tilt and vanish, but the ground keeps breathing. A tank rusts into the earth, and a tree grows from its hull, violence converted into shade. The theme park stands still, and joy looks different when no one needs to be entertained. Up close, the wheel bends and sways, reminding us that even fun was made of time. Runways become meadows, terminals become thickets, and deer graze where departures once mattered. Shipping lanes lie empty at sunset, trade replaced by tide, urgency replaced by horizon. Under a dark sky, the Milky Way blazes, history written in stars, finally readable again. A clear river moves through rusted industry, teaching that water is the world's great editor. Sunrise over a forest canopy feels clean, like the air itself has forgiven the land. Roots split concrete slowly, not in anger, just in certainty, 1 millimeter at a time. Plastic sleeps in sediment as a synthetic fossil, our signature pressed into geology. In a silent vault, gold and diamonds scatter like pebbles, value without a believer. A ruined museum lets nature in, and art becomes temporary, like everything else we loved. Underwater, a reef thrives on a sunken ship, turning loss into color and motion. Wilderness stretches to the horizon, and the wind speaks a language older than words. A golden sunrise lights a healed world, and hope feels less like a promise, more like a cycle. A bird perches on the highest ruin and sings, as if dawn still deserves a witness. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for the next journey, Earth Unmanned.